All right, everybody, welcome back into Cherry Picking. Today's video, buy low, sell high, week 10 of the fantasy hockey season. Little caveat in today's video as well, but as always, presented by FanDuel Canada, North America's #1 sportsbook. We'll be doing a video this week to go over the current NHL playoff odds and which teams are on the bubble in both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, and just talk about who you should be betting at this point. But for today's video, 6 players, 2 guys to sell, 2 guys to buy, and then 2 guys to stash, keep, whatever you want to call them. Let's get into our first player. All right, so the first guy we're going to be talking about today is Sam Reinhart, and he is a stash, a keep. This is a guy that I think is going to continue to flourish in fantasy hockey. Right now, 17 goals this season, tied 4th most in the NHL in the Florida Panthers. Right now, 14th in expected goals for the season, so continuing to create a decent amount of offense there. But I think just the position he's playing in right now in terms of where this Florida Panthers team is just really the best position for him to succeed on an offense that ranks top 7 in the NHL in expected goals for and are creating the 3rd most scoring chances per game. Sam Reinhart being at the forefront of that. I know his short shooting percentage is relatively high, 26%. That's very high, actually. But he's still on a 50-goal pace right now with 17 goals through 27 games played, which I don't think is maybe necessarily realistic, but 40 to 45 goals I think is definitely attainable right now with how he started off this season. He's had seasons with 18 and 19 shooting percentages. One of those with Florida, if he can start shooting like he did last year, totaling about, I think he had 230 shots, which is most shots on goal for a season, I think you'll continue to love Sam Reinhart on your fantasy hockey team. So that's why I'm telling you to keep him. Don't trade him. He's going to just continue to go at this consistent pace, and that's exactly what you want in fantasy hockey. All right, so the next stash we're going to be talking about is Jake Guentzel on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Absolutely love this guy. I think he's obviously had a little bit of a slow start to the season, if you want to call it that, but honestly, it's because he didn't really play the first couple games because of an injury, and I think now you're really seeing his numbers come into fruition and really just him start to produce on this first line with Sidney Crosby. 3rd in expected goals for this season. He's 23rd in fantasy hockey points right now, so I think we're just going to continue to see him climb on that list. Playing on line with Sidney Crosby, who's turned the clock back at this point. He's on pace for his highest goals his highest goal total in a season since the 2016-2017 season, where he had 44 goals. Right now, he's just on a 47 to 48 goal pace on this Penguins team, and he just continues to score goals, which is nuts. But Guentzel, the biggest thing for him this year, he's tied 8th in the NHL in primary assists, and he has 29 points in 26 games. He's not really known essentially as a passer. He's definitely more known for his goal scoring abilities, but it seemed like he's been able to be an even better passer this year than we've ever seen before, and I think that's a positive thing to look at considering he only has 10 goals on the season so far with 29 points and just 3 power play assists as well. He's currently riding one of his lowest career shooting percentages at 11.4. His 2 40-goal seasons that he had 15 and 17% shooting percentages, and I think this Pittsburgh Penguins team is one of the better 5-on-5 teams, and it's because of this top line. Jake Guentzel, 3rd in expected goals for in 5-on-5 play this year, and 2nd in points, only behind Nathan MacKinnon. So he's producing at an extreme level on 5-on-5. Once this Penguins power play starts to figure out, he's going to be even better. So you definitely don't get rid of him. Don't get frustrated with the lack of power play points. Those are going to come as this power play continues to build chemistry. So keep Jake Guentzel. All right, so let's get into some of the buys in the video today. Tyler Toffoli on the New Jersey Devils. Absolutely love this buy right now. I don't think you're necessarily buying him super low, but he's still just inside the top 100 in terms of fantasy hockey points right now. But he's 9th in expected goals for this season. His shooting percentage isn't crazy low, right about 14%, but he's still creating a lot of offense on a team that lives and dies by offense on this New Jersey Devils team. I will be honest, I was a little worried with Toffoli this year coming into the season because, he had a career high in points last year with 73, getting on a team where there's a lot of mouths to feed, but he seems like he's one of those mouths that they want to feed in the first place. So first line right now with Timo Meier and Jack Hughes, 34 goals last year, and last year he had 34 goals and he was 49th in expected goals for at 28. He's top 10 right now expected goals for and could finish with a top 10 expected goals for this season if he continues to create offense at this pace, which would honestly lead him closer to probably his first 40-goal plus season and his 80-plus point season as well. So Tyler Toffoli right now, you should definitely try to be trading for him. I think he's definitely flying under some people's radar because he's just been relatively up and down in terms of his consistency. And I think now that this Devils team is starting to get a lot healthier, we're seeing their offense really start to drive here. And I think Toffoli will continue to be one of those guys and finally find the back of the net a little bit more consistently. Okay, the next guy we're buying, I've talked about this guy in my buy low, sell high before, and even my must add because he continues to not be really highly rostered, but I think he needs to be because his breakout is coming soon here. It just has to, with looking at where his numbers and where he ranks amongst this league. And it's Anders Lee on the New York Islanders right now. Just 7 goals, 10 points through 27 games played this year, but he's top 15 in expected goals for, top 7 in high danger chances scored, and has, like I mentioned, 7 goals and 10 points to show for it. All players who also meet that criteria of top 15 expected goals for, top 7 in high danger chances created this season all have at least 10 goals and at least 20 plus points, if not 25, in terms of consistency amongst this group. I think some positive regression is certainly coming Anders Lee's way. Islanders have actually been able to score a decent amount recently too. Top 5 in goals per game over the last 2.5 weeks. He is now back on the first line. Lane Lambert moved him off that first line at some point this season because he was creating maybe not as much offense as he has been recently, but at the beginning of the season he was playing well. He just could not find the back of the net, so went down to the third line, started finally scoring, and now Lane Lambert moving him back on that first line with Barzal and Bo Horvat. Doesn't get a ton of power play time playing on that second unit, but 5-on-5, he's been exceptional as well. He's right up there with Jake Guentzel, second in the NHL in expected goals for in 5-on-5 play this year, and first in high danger scoring chances created. He just needs to start finding the back of the net. Bo Horvat is finding the back of the net, and I think he'll find, or playing with him, he'll start to find the back of the net as well. He's such a steal right now, considering he's honestly available, I think, in probably 10 to 12-man leagues, and I think this is a guy that could potentially finish within the top 50 of fantasy hockey players this year with how much offense he's producing on an Islanders team that really has not been known for creating a lot of offense. So I think Anders Lee is maybe even changing that narrative. So definitely try and go get Anders Lee. And if he's available on your waiver wire, you're very lucky. Go pick him up. All right, so the first guy we're going to be selling on, he's now 40% rostered and has really had a steep incline over the past 2.5 weeks, and that's Mikael Granlund on the San Jose Sharks. 21 games played so far this year, up to 18 points, just 3 goals. But over the last 2 weeks, top 10 in fantasy hockey points scored with 9 assists and a +7 over that span. I will be honest, that is very impressive, being +7 over a 14-day span playing on the San Jose Sharks' current team right now. But there's just no way the Sharks team keeps it up. Like their offense has been rolling at a pace that honestly very few offenses have this year over the past 2 weeks. Over the last 5 games played in the NHL, the Sharks lead the league in goals for per game with 26, but they're 23rd over that span in expected goals for. So not nearly creating the same amount of offense as they are scoring, and they're rocking a 17% shooting percentage, which leads the NHL over that span too. And for Granlund, he's not even the one who's scoring right now. He's just getting a ton of assists. He has 43 shots on goal this season, which ranks 251st in the NHL. So the volume isn't there for San Jose, which means this offense isn't going to keep it up. Granlund isn't even the one who's scoring, and in terms of primary assists as well, he's not even leading that category either. So as of right now, this is his peak value. I don't think we'll ever see Mikael Granlund as a top 10 fantasy hockey player any other stretch at this point or this fantasy hockey season. So definitely try to trade him right now if you can in those deeper leagues. I think you definitely can to try and go get a guy like maybe even Anders Lee or something like that. All right, and the last guy we're going to be selling high on in this video is Mason Marchment on the Dallas Stars. Definitely having a really solid season after a really disappointing season, I would say, last year with the Stars. Really, we saw, I think, his best hockey since this last 27 game stretch from him was when he was on the Florida Panthers. So far this year, 27 games played, 9 goals and 9 assists, so pretty even there. Just 3 power play points, and right now isn't even on one of the power play units, which is a little bit disappointing to see, which is also a reason why we're going to try to sell high on him. If you look at it over his last 5 games played, just 3 points, 2 goals. He's 295th in expected goals for. So that's definitely not good to see the little amount of offense he's creating, even on a line that's been pretty solid. But his shooting percentage kind of attested that as well, right around 16%. Even there's someone I'd rather own than Mason Marchment if it was on this line, would probably be Matt Duchene. But he is a center, which is a little bit annoying. Mason Marchment being a solid left winger there, that is valuable, especially in Yahoo Fantasy Hockey Leagues right now. But the play right now with him not being on the power play, I think is just not really worth it. The juice isn't really worth the squeeze there, especially considering if you look at 5-on-5 play so far this year, he's ranked outside the top 75 in expected goals for as well. So you definitely won't see the same kind of production if he's solely playing on 5-on-5 right now. So I definitely try to trade him right now. I think it's definitely a possibility. He is riding a decent high, top 25 in fantasy hockey points scored over the last 2 weeks. So definitely, a little bit to sway your fantasy hockey league mates there. I would definitely try to get rid of Mason Marchment before it's too late. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you thought of this week's buy low, sell high, and the keeps for this week as well. Be sure to download that FanDuel Canada app. Can't wait to go over the NHL playoff odds and tell you guys who I think is going to be making it into the NHL playoffs this year. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.